So I just got home from the gym, and this is one of the things I just love to have when I get home from the gym. One of my fake coffee drinks with dandelion. I don't tolerate caffeine very well, so this tastes like coffee and it tastes so good. And I want to talk about something that I've never actually talked publicly about before. I just don't feel like being silent about it any longer. So I thought we would make our coffee. And I know it's not good to have iced drinks in the winter, but I get so hot at the gym that there's nothing like an iced coffee when I get home from the gym. I am also going to throw some creatine in this because I didn't do that before I went to the gym. I was so full from my breakfast. I couldn't even think about making a proper protein drink and my EAAs and creatine, so I'll just make sure I get that in there right now. It doesn't taste like anything, so it's not gonna wreck the pleasure of this drink. And just a titch of maple syrup for sweetness. So let's enjoy this, and we'll go sit down at my altar and have a little chat. It's so good. Now, I had a video about a month ago that had a comment on it that spurred on this little altar side chat. And the comment said, I haven't done your videos in a long time, but it looks like you put on a lot of weight. Beside the video, that comment, there were all these little emojis that were like sort of horrified and surprised emojis. Now, I asked all of you how you would respond to this comment on Instagram, and you guys are amazing. You had my back, and the responses were incredible. But I wanted to talk more about this yoga and ideal weight issue a little bit more, and what it's been like in my 22 years of teaching yoga and 15 years of teaching yoga on YouTube. When I first started teaching yoga on YouTube, I used to get so many requests for yoga for weight loss. In fact, it was super popular to teach yoga for weight loss on YouTube back when I first started teaching on YouTube. And yoga for weight loss classes were so popular. In fact, if I had gone down that road and taught yoga for weight loss classes, the trajectory of Yoga with Melissa might have been completely different. It might have catapulted me into a different category. But yoga for weight loss has always been something that I've had like this heart instinct, this gut instinct, totally against it. To me, it goes against everything that yoga stands for. If I were to have gone down that yoga for weight loss road, then we're talking about like fighting against our bodies and rejecting our bodies instead of everything that I learned yoga was about, which is loving ourselves, accepting ourselves, connecting with the truth of ourselves. And to me, the two things just seem out of alignment. So a couple of years into my teaching on YouTube, I was at this workshop when I was living in Toronto with Karuna Erickson, who is a fabulous yoga teacher, and I was bemoaning this this constant kind of rub, which was people are asking me to do these yoga for weight loss classes and I don't want to do them. They go against everything I believe in. They go against my values. I don't know what to do. And Karuna, with all her wisdom, said to me, well, why don't you teach a yoga for weight acceptance class? I love one of the things that I say in that class. I say that yoga promises us that who you really are is already open and free and loving, deeply accepting. It's simply a matter of relaxing into and opening to that part of yourself. And I've always deeply believed that. And that's what's always kept me coming back to yoga. So
Could you
people ask me
please?
most about my weight and losing weight, like how to get a body like I had when I was the most sick in my life, when I had chronic migraines. And it was so bad that my naturopath said I was so sick that my body was actually eating itself. And I looked good on film, on camera, online, but in real life, I mean, I did not look good. So at this time in my life, people online were asking me, how can I lose weight doing yoga like you do? And they were, at this time in my life, I was also doing a lot of modeling of yoga clothes. And let me tell you, it was real easy. There was no trying to get the angles. There was no sitting up taller. There was no sucking in. It was just point and click that camera. And no matter what I was doing, I would look great in all the photos. But in real life, it was absolutely the opposite. I have this vivid memory of one time one of Tim's friends came to our house. He knocked on the door. He knocked. And I opened the door and his jaw, it just dropped. It was like he couldn't believe what he saw. He was like, "You have gotten so thin." And he couldn't leave he didn't want to leave the house until he had taken me to get something to eat. Like I looked that shockingly thin in real life. So here's the thing. We don't know what silent battles people are fighting in their lives. Back at that time too, there was also this kind of weird thing going on that it was like you shouldn't have to, it was like your yoga should be curing everything and you shouldn't be sick. It was the height of Louise Hay, of affirming yourself into wellness, and if you were sick, you were kind of doing something wrong. So it was like we were isolating in our suffering. So there was that kind of thing going on. There was toxic positivity going on at that time, in that era. So you don't really know, at that time, you really didn't know what silent battles people were fighting. And so what was going on was people were complimenting me most on my body when I was the least healthy, when I was the most sick. And I would think to myself, you don't want my secret. They would ask me, like, what's your secret? What are you doing? And honestly, my secret was like, I was hugging the porcelain bowl. Like, you don't want to be in this much pain. You don't want this solution. And here's the main points that I want to make in this video. Being thin should not create authority for yoga teachers. Slimness does not mean that you're getting the best quality yoga instruction. A slender physique should not be a determining factor in the quality of leadership in the yoga community. Yoga teachers should not be judged based on their size. I mean, all of this should go without saying, but it just runs under the radar in our subconscious and our unconscious. Thinness should not be equated with expertise. Authority among yoga teachers should be independent of one's body shape. Thinness is not a prerequisite for good yoga teaching. And more than that, can we please get into the 20th century? We want to be strong. We don't want to be thin. We want to be strong, not skinny. So there's something called sarcopenia. And in my 50s, and even the last few years leading up to my 50s, it's something that has really been on my mind. I mean, I am really concerned about losing the muscle that I've been losing over the last few years and making sure that I'm including resistance training now. And I don't want to be super skinny anymore, because skinny could mean fragility, which could mean osteoporosis, and could mean loss of bone density and loss of muscle and fragility. And that is just so not the vibe I'm going for anymore. So more than that, I think we all need to look inwards to ourselves and determine what for us is important for us in a yoga teacher and in our own yoga practice. I personally love how Nichola Joy Davies says, what keeps us coming back to yoga even after our problems are resolved or we've gotten into shape? And she says, there's something magical inside. There's a mysterious part of ourselves that's so powerful that we're motivated to return to it again and again. And for me, as a yoga teacher and a yoga student, I know I'm really tapped in when I'm connected with that mystery of the divine in my yoga practice. And I come back to these opening 2 lines of Nichola Joy Davies' translation of the Yoga Sutras again and again. They are like my favorite lines. They open my heart. They tap me in again and again. Yoga is the uniting, oh God, they can bring tears to my eyes right now. Yoga is the uniting of consciousness and the heart. United in the heart, consciousness is steadied, and then we abide in our true nature, joy. Not skinniness, not the perfect ideal body. United in the heart, consciousness is steadied, then we abide in our true nature, joy. And that's why I keep coming back to teaching yoga. That's why I keep coming back to my yoga mat. That uniting of my consciousness in my heart to connect with my true nature. And for me, that transcends totally the ideal body weight, the skinniness thing. And it's just so much bigger and so much more inspiring.